Let's go. Okay, welcome everyone to Conneely Station, Chicago, episode 4. I had just been a Butterfingers kind of a person and knocked out the recording I was just doing seconds ago. So let me, without further Butterfingers, explain. Toward the end of episode 3, I mentioned I was going to get into the Irish shops around Chicago and those that have recently closed, and maybe look at those that are still around and still open. So noteworthy, Donegal Imports on Devon Avenue in Chicago has just closed on December 31st of 2022. And I don't have the exact closing date, but the Irish shop of Oak Park, Illinois, on Oak Park Avenue has also just recently closed. And sometime before that, Harrington's Deli. Harrington's is still open as a business, but just their physical location of the deli and gift shop has closed recently also. So that material is coming into the future, but as I started to look over the picture of my grandmother and having the name of the boat, and by her own good planning that she wrote in her travel dates on the back, I started to reflect on how I had in the past looked at what at the time was called the Ellis Island Foundation, but to reference the website here, heritage.statueofliberty.org. And as we can see right there in the screen, the passenger search. So again, if I'm just going to type in M. Conneely, that'll give me everyone, including the Martins and the Morgans and the Marys and everybody else under that name. But now let me get Grandma's picture over on the side and Grandpa's picture off over on the side, and typing in her full name of Mary Conneely. That gives a list of all the Mary Connellys who ever came out of Ireland or anywhere else. So now it became a matter of pinpointing and zeroing in. Again, we know it was 1927 that she came over, but this isn't the correct boat. So here she is, 1927, with the correct name of the boat. I opened up all these tabs for fear of having a Butterfinger or a navigation issue. So under the tab on this website of passenger record, as we can see up at the blue selection right there at the top, well, you're getting a lot of information, and then each tab, of course, gives you more details or more specific information. So this might be the least interesting to me, but it's still really interesting. So you can get a certificate printed with all that information right there of your relative, their place of birth, their arrival, their age, and what line number on the manifest line number. So on the sign-in sheet, or on the pre-typed out sign-in sheet, if you will, on the boat, what line number did they fall into? So now, again, there's ship manifest, ship information, annotations, and text passenger list. So jumping into ship manifest, if I can scroll down right here, we will see that you can do close-ups on this. You can get in to get a good set of details. So if she was line number 17, then there she is. And then it'll have, again, I'm not going to go up and down to see exactly what all the columns indicate, but these are things that you can pay for and order off of this website if you want a hard copy, physical copy of your ancestors' data and information. Now to jump over to ship information, again, so now you can get an image of the boat itself, and it tells you here about the ship. This one says scrapped in Scotland in 1958. So that's a whole side tangent that I may or may not dive into the future. But what a car lasts so long for however many miles. What mileage, is there or was there on boats of this era? And what made Scotland the location for it to be scrapped? There's so many interesting questions or different threads I could, or anyone could start to look around. At least how many first class, how many second class, how many third class passengers, and some data on the boat itself. So now jumping over here, again, this is pretty much the same screen we looked at a minute ago, and same again. So here, this one you can get, let me come up to the tab under annotations. Under annotations, it's a nice clear cut, the data points, the name. And so now here I'm already on my grandfather's stuff. So it lists my grandpa at 20 at the age of arrival. See, so now this is interesting. His birth certificate showed him, like 1897 or 1898. And now the ship information had him at a slightly different age, as it did for my grandma. Her birth date was in 1905, and the ship information had her born in 1906. So again, maybe some mysteries can't be resolved, but it's still interesting to take note of little data discrepancies. Again, just he was passenger number 13, so I can scroll right in there and see what address he was supposed to come to right here in Chicago, when he landed after he arrived. And then moving on to the next tab here, again, that same certificate. And again, looking at the manifest, maybe I should stick to one vehicle or the other. But okay, so the text passenger list then gives you this real neat, orderly way of seeing. So then if I select down here to get more than 10 entries per page, then scroll down, and there at number 13, there's Grandpa coming out of my Cullen County, Galway. So this was real interesting for me. Again, the looks of the boats. This one's more a color. Let me get a little closer. This one's more a color artist rendition versus an actual photograph. So it has the port of departure, the arrival date, all this really interesting stuff. So I hope for you, the viewer, it's been interesting, or approximately as interesting as it has been to me. I thought this was going to run a slightly shorter episode, but I see I'm stepping into kind of my average length of having a recording here. So I appreciate views and comments, and I let me also take a minute to say for my dad's first cousins, and for my cousins as well, I very much appreciate the conversations and the energy that's been generated in speaking this material as we release videos and put together more information. And again, if not for my cousins to be able to collect information and trade information, and for my mom for doing a great job of keeping these historic records in the house, in her house. So appreciation to everybody in the family for being along for this journey. And I'm going to wrap it up for this time. Soon again, we will come back and look at the important value of having, community centers and important local shops. Again, this lamp before us, I had just picked up from Donnie Gill. So I guess I'm giving a bit of a teaser or a trailer or a spoiler into the next material. This lamp here and this lamp here had come from Harrington's before Harrington's closed. And then these pieces right here on papyrus are actually from Ireland. So we'll get into all kinds of future content in the future. Thanks so much, everybody. This has been Conneely Station Chicago, episode 4, closing out for this one. Thank you.